Hey guys and gals, welcome back to the channel. Catch me off road here with a horrible crooked parking job. But the good news is you can see the TRX is back home from La Fontaine Auto. Those guys are awesome. If you saw on my Instagram page, Catch Me Off Road, they picked up the truck last week and towed it actually on a flatbed, which is very nice. I didn't have to leave my house and drop it off at the dealership and get a ride home, but they towed the truck to their shop in about 40 minutes from here. They're Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer, and they swapped out my front CV axle. As you can see right there, we have a brand new shiny one, and they actually cleaned up the area really well. There's not really a whole lot of grease left anywhere. Maybe a speck here or there, but maybe not, I don't know. I actually don't see any now. But cleaned it up, and then they did an alignment on it and brought it right back to my house, delivered it back home for me. You can't get better service than that, so I was super happy about it. They were done in a couple days, but I was out of town for about 4 days, so I asked them to hold off on delivering it, but they were able to deliver it successfully on Monday. So sorry about the helicopter flying over. But in today's video, we're actually going to do a couple things to the truck now that it's back. We have a couple off-road events coming up this weekend, one of them being Holly Oaks Park, which is near my house here in Detroit, Michigan. It's about 25 minutes away. You see a lot of video clips of the TRX over there and some other vehicles. And the plan is on Friday, they're actually coming out, the DNR, who partially owns the park, they're coming out to film a promotional video. And so they asked as many people to come out as they could. And me being a member of the Oakland Mine Riders, which is the volunteer group associated with the park, they asked us to come out and they were going to give us free entry. So that's the plan for Friday. So I have to get the flag on. I'll probably wait till Friday to do that. But in the meantime, there's a couple other things I want to do in preparation for that. So that's Friday. And then Saturday, I'm going out with the crew from Midwest Off-Road Expeditions, my off-road group, to actually do some pre-running on some trails. Yeah, so we'll be doing some pre-running in Grayling, Michigan, with a couple of the crew members from MOE, and in preparation for, that's in preparation for an event coming up on October 23rd, which we have a couple openings for. I think 3 openings right now. If you're interested, we have 3 or 4 other TRXs, a bunch of Raptors and other vehicles coming out. It's a one-day event in Grayling, Michigan, kind of central Michigan. So be sure to sign up if you're able to come out. The registration info is available at catchmeoffroad.com. Just go into the events tab and you'll find it there. So preparing for that, I would like to work on the stuff in the bed, namely buying. So one of our viewers, Jason, shout out to Jace, he recommended going to Tractor Supply, since I mentioned in one of my last videos that the tire was touching on the metal part right here and up there and not really pushing down on the bed hard enough. He recommended going to Tractor Supply and buying like a horse stable mat and cutting it into small pieces, 1 piece per tire, and just set it under the tire to lift up the tire a little bit, get it elevated off the ground. That'll help it strap down more securely, put more pressure on the bed, and lift the whole cage up. So that's one thing we're going to be doing today. I'm getting ready to go to Tractor Supply. Hopefully I'll take you with me there. And then the other thing is I bought a cable lock and a padlock, combination lock, that I would like to put on the tires. Make sure they're locked in the bed and through the toolbox. This came from Amazon. Everything's from Amazon. I tried to look up. I know these are just really more of a theft deterrent than a prevention device, because you can really cut these rather easily with big, chain or cable cutters. But, obviously if you're not traveling with one, you can't just grab a tire and go. So that's the plan with this, trying to wrap it through all the different items in the bed and then put a master lock on it. This is one that I found. You can change the combination code on it, and it's supposed to be a decent one. But again, all of these are pretty easily defeatable if you're out looking for stuff like this. But for 90% of people that aren't prepared, I think this should deter them. The other thing I have is a couple of these fire extinguisher mounts, and I'll take them out of the box when I get back. And I want to mount the fire extinguishers, which are inside the house. I'll bring them out using these quick disconnect mounts, and we'll go ahead and put those on the bed rack as well, the tire rack. So we have some fire safety as well. So that's the plan for today. Let's give you guys actually one more thing. I also want to install these. So this is my old bed cover right here. All right, it's actually pretty new. I don't know why I said old, but I just got it a few months ago. But the lights currently are mounted to it right here. one here and one on that side, and this rests right up against the back window right here. So this is the back of the cab. And since I'm getting rid of this while I'm using the spare tire carrier, I need to relocate these somewhere on the truck. So I'm going to be purchasing some shorter bolts, and we're going to be mounting them actually to the rails that mount that bed cover on. So I'm leaving them on right here along the sides, you can see. So this right here is the rail that's mounted, that mounts to the bed side to hold that bed cover on. And this is the plate where the bed cover mounts as well. We're going to be using this actually to mount the lights directly into it. We're just going to bolt them in. I think it's a pretty clean fix. And those are the wires right there that you can see. I just have them zip tied right there to the other side. So that's the plan there. I'll go ahead and give you guys a cold start, and then we'll head to Tractor Supply. Uh-oh, I'm out of gas. I was wondering why she sounded a little choppy. Hopefully I'm not starving the fuel pump, but it actually shut off on its own because I'm out of fuel. I'm down to an 1/8 tank, so we'll get gas too while we're out. So stay tuned. Pick you up right where I left off. All right, guys, we are on our way to Tractor Supply Co., which is, for those who aren't familiar with it, it's kind of like a farm equipment and hardware and pet food and everything all in one store. Fall is upon us. We're starting to see some changes in the leaf colors. You can see a little bit of red and yellow and stuff. I really don't like the fall. I like summertime, so I'm sad it's gone. But nonetheless, I wanted to just quickly give an update on how the truck rides now that I have the perch collars and spacers on, and we're about 2 inches higher than factory all around. It's very similar to stock. You know, the shocks feel the same. I do notice that it does feel a little bit more top heavy. It's a very tall truck now. It's very hard to get up and down, you know, into the truck. You really have to use the handles right here to grab onto, and otherwise it really rides just like it did from the factory. Like I said, it does feel a little bit top heavy just because of how tall it is, but I don't think it's anything that's, you know, I'm not going to flip it or anything like that. It's just, you know, it feels like there's a lot more sway to it just because of how high it sits. You know, from the factory it sits low and squatted and wide. It's much nicer ride with the stock tires, also the 35s. These 37s are a little rough, plus the wheels have a little more offset, sticking out more, so it's kind of a longer lever arm on the spindle. So all that stuff together kind of makes the ride worse. But on the stock tires and wheels, I think it's very similar with the lift or without it. Anyway, so we're on our way to Tractor Supply right now. I'll give an update either once I get there or once I get home, depending on how it goes. Alright guys, we are back from Tractor Supply Co. Sorry, it was really just a bunch of waiting outside for them to unlock the box that these are in. But I got this guy right here, which is, I believe, I don't even know, it looks like it's about 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch thick. And it's a 4x6 sheet, which is way too big, and I was going for a smaller one, like a, I don't remember if it was a 3, I think this is even bigger. This might be a 4x8, and of course all my neighbors are mowing right now, sorry for that. But basically I was looking for a smaller one that was about 25 bucks. This one was 54 bucks, so it was about double what I wanted to pay. It's a lot bigger, a lot more heavy duty, but it was the only one they had. So instead of waiting until after this event, I really want to get these done today. So I went ahead and bought it anyway. It's a massive sheet, it weighs like 100 pounds. Had to get the guy to help me load it up here. But I'm gonna try to get it out, figure out how to cut it, maybe with a Sawzall, because I don't think scissors are gonna get even close to cutting this. And then I also picked up some small bolts for the lights that go right there. Just shorter lights. So that's the plan for now. Let me go ahead and unload this thing, get it on the ground, figure out how to cut it, and we'll get to work on it. Alright kids, so I cut out an 11 by 11 inch square that looks just like this and put it under the tire, and we're now no longer touching here or there, but for some reason the front of the cage is still a little loose, and I don't know if it's just because I only did one side and not both, or if this one needs more added thickness. So I made another one. I'm going to first put it under the other tire, and if the cage is still not tight, then I'm going to go ahead and make a third one, put it under this side, and a fourth one under that side, and see if that helps. And then the remainder, sorry, I'm out of breath. I've been trying to cut these and hop in and out of the truck, and I'm out of shape. But the remainder of this, I'm going to try to use under the toolbox, like Jace suggested as well in the comments. So stay tuned. Let me get this sorted out, and I'll let you know what I did. All right, the rubber mat is on the other side too. You can see them, there's one, and there's the other. So they're both in. I strapped down the, tightened down the straps pretty good, and the rattling is pretty much gone, except when I like really put some weight on it, or like do this, you can kind of hear it rubbing a little bit. But I think that will fix the problem for now, at least for this weekend. And I lied about using another piece under here. I'm too lazy to cut using that method, unless I can get the saws out and figure out if it works better. If it does, I'll kind of go this way and then down, and then use this piece right here out of the toolbox. But I'll get to that after. I want to focus on my lights first, try to get them mounted up, and then put the chain and everything through here, and the fire extinguishers, get all that important stuff done, and then I'll worry about the mat on this guy. But so far, I'm happy with the setup right now. If I were to do it all over again, I would probably go with the larger size, I think the Alpha cage instead of the Bravo, because these tires are really marginal on fitting in here. They're 13.5 wide, and they rub on the insides and on the outsides very tight. You have to like kind of force them in there, and every lug gets caught up on, so you can see the lugs are getting caught up on the metal bars. And if I try to rotate it to where the lug slides in here, then it messes up on the back side. So right now I'm missing this lug kind of. I don't know, it's like a big puzzle that doesn't want to work right, but hopefully those rubber mats fixed it for now, or at least temporarily, until I can get it out and test it. And if it seems to work good, I'll leave it like this. So on to the next part. Let's do the cable lock first, the fire extinguishers, and then we'll do the lights. So this is what comes in the fire extinguisher mount box. I ordered 2 of them, and they have a pretty bad finish. You know, you can see they're scratched up on the edges. They have these little scratches all over them. If this is something that was, you know, going to be easily visible, I'd worry about it, but it's going to be outside this whole life, so I'm not too worried. Whatever, it is what it is. So this part right here, well, I got to read the instructions, but one part mounts to the fire extinguisher, one part mounts to a bar of some sort, and they give you these nice clamps with it as well. There should be 4 of them in here, 2 for the fire extinguisher, 2 to mount this to wherever. And then the way it works is you pull this little guy, which is spring actuated that I like. I looked specifically for one like this, so I didn't lose pins and stuff that rattled out on the way. You pull this guy, and then the whole thing comes apart. The fire extinguisher will come off. So you have to have 2 hands, which I only have one while I'm using my phone, but once it's all mounted up, I'll show you how it works. And these are the fire extinguishers I'm using. They are made by a company called Kid. These are like the most common ones that everyone uses. I've read a lot of bad reviews about them, honestly, like not working when you want them to, or not having pressure on arrival, and they don't accept refunds or returns, and a lot of bad things about them. But they were really the only ones available, and you know, within a couple days, and for the price. I think they were about 25 bucks each, 23, 25, something like that, on Amazon, with 2-day Prime shipping. So mine, luckily, both arrived full. That was the first thing I checked. And the nice thing about these ones also is they have metal handles. You want to make sure your fire extinguisher has metal handles and not plastic handles, because if you get a fire and the fire extinguishers are close to it, it'll melt your handles and you won't be able to use it. So you want to make sure you get one with metal handles, metal nozzle. I think this is an updated one I read on their website. These ones are all metal. So we're going to be ripping this black piece off right here, because we're not going to use this mount. That's for like a house type application, and we're going to be using this one instead. So just looking at it, it looks like fire extinguisher goes on this part with the larger radius, and the metal bar, or the mount, goes right here. And you can all see there's a couple screw holes in case you want to mount it that way, which obviously you wouldn't mount that to a fire extinguisher. That's why I know this side stays with the mount and this side goes with the fire extinguisher. So I'll try to get it situated up on our bar somewhere. Okay, so I got one side all mounted up. It was kind of a pain because I had to take the tire out to get clearance in here so I could put these clamps on. And then the 4 clamps they gave me 2 massive ones and 2 slightly less massive ones. So I used the smaller of the 2 or the 4 on right here. And then I found that I had a couple more heavy duty smaller clamps that are about, I don't know, a couple inches, made for a 2-inch diameter or so, kind of like this piping is, or tubing. So I put those on. They're really stretching at the sharp angle here, so I'm a little nervous about that. I didn't want to over tighten them, but I also don't want this whole thing flopping around everywhere. And then I mounted these 2 clamps to where the fire extinguisher was slid this way a little bit. So I cleared this, but I also get it as close to the wall as possible. I didn't want, you know, you couldn't bring it any more down here because this clamp would start running up onto this narrow portion of it. So it's in a pretty good spot right now. It's pretty solid, but it does move a little bit just because of the mount, as you can see. But how it works is you pull this guy, and lift the fire extinguisher. I already tested it to make sure it clears here and everything. But you pull this, lift that out. Of course you do this with both hands, and then it comes out like that. See, the bottom is kind of notched. And then you put out your fire, do whatever you got to do. And it's simple as that. To put it back in, you just kind of put the bottom in first, and then pull the top out, and it locks in. And that's it. So I'm going to do the other one right over here if I have enough clamps, and show you the end result. Okay, I got it done. So this one you already saw. So I did this one also. Unfortunately, I didn't have any smaller clamps, so I had to use the ones they gave me. So there's a lot of overhang on both of these, but it doesn't really show unless you're looking for it. I might swap them out someday. But this one, unfortunately, I had to make it facing the same direction as that one instead of outwards. I wanted the handle outwards, but because of the way the mount works, it has to be also far away. I couldn't have mounted it here unless it was on the bottom side. So I did it that way, got it as close as I could to the edge so it's easy to grab from outside. You kind of have to reach a little bit to reach the red handle, but overall not too bad. So now that those are mounted, we're going to go ahead and get started on the lights. And hopefully that's a quick exercise, famous last words. So I'll check back with you when those are done. Alright guys, you can see it's a little darker out now. I was able to secure the lights. What took so long was the wires weren't long enough. I have this Y harness right here, and it kind of meets right in the middle between that light and this light. And it wasn't long enough to reach my underbody through the frame wiring that comes from the front of the vehicle. So I had to extend that a little bit, and now it's working. I zip tied everything up. It has a little bit of rattling here. I'll worry about it at another point. It's getting dark now. So fire extinguishers are mounted, the lights are good, and then I just now routed the cable around the tires, around the frame, blah blah, and into my new padlock, which I mounted. I locked my box as well, which is kind of cool. I bought one that fits that size hole. So now the tires, the bed cage, and the toolbox are all locked together. So if you want to take one, you got to take them all as a package. I probably should have routed it through one of the D-rings. Actually, I should probably do that right now. I'm going to probably mount it the exact same way, just through one of these rings right here, so it's mounted to the truck as well, and you can't remove it from the truck. So I'll do that, but that kind of wraps up the video for today. We got all the bed stuff ready to go, so Friday, right before I head out to Hollyoaks, I'll probably put the flag on the front of the truck, and we should be good to go for the weekend. All the tools are packed up just like they were in the last off-road prep video. I haven't really messed with anything, and that will be it. So thanks for watching, guys. Catch you on the next one.